One of my favorite things about watercolor pencils is how they combine drawing and painting into a single medium. Today I'm working with the Cretacolor set of 24 watercolor pencils to create a vibrant portrait, and I'll be sharing the techniques I use throughout the process. We'll explore layering color, softening edges with water, blending hues, and building realistic skin tones and details. Whether you're new to watercolor pencils or looking to get more out of the supplies you already own, I hope this demonstration gives you plenty of inspiration and practical tips. Let's get started. I am really excited to try these. These are the Cretacolor Aquarelle pencils, watercolor pencils. They're made in Austria. This is the set of 24 colors. And if you look on the back, it just talks a little bit about how these are fine art quality pencils. They're soft and rich in their color strokes. Highest light fastness rating, category 1 and 2. And the colors are consistent both wet and dry. And so they're used for watercolor, drawing, blending, and mixed media. And they come in this nice metal tin. So let's open these up and you can see they are all wrapped in plastic. So protected nicely in here. And this is my first time trying this particular brand. Let's use our palette knife. Take the plastic off. There we go. Beautiful, sharp, ready to use pencils. Now today I'm going to be doing a portrait. I've already sketched it on. This is Fabriano Artistico 100% cotton cold pressed watercolor paper, a 5x7 inch block. And so the blocks, the sides of the paper are glued down except for one little corner, which you can use your palette knife to remove the paper when you're all done. It just keeps the paper flat, especially when you're working with lots of water. Now, if you've never used watercolor pencils before, they're not a whole lot different from watercolors, honestly. It's just a different application of paint. Instead of using a brush to put down color, you literally draw it on. But you still do use water and a brush if you want to activate the paint, so to speak, and help it to blend and just to make the colors even more vibrant. So I'm going to try something by Tombow. It's a blending kit. This comes with a dual brush blender pen. Now these are designed for use with the Tombow brush pens, but I see a lot of potential with this product for watercolor pencils as well. So I've got my reference image in front of me. This is my friend Lily Curley. She is an amazing artist who paints with us regularly on Wednesday nights in our Denver figure painting group. She was wearing a dress that was inspired by Madame X by John Singer Sargent, that very famous painting with the gold chain, and it was black. That part's cut off in this photo, but of course she's got fuchsia hair in this photo, which I think is spectacular and going to be so much fun to try to capture. So we're going to start by just doing some coloring, and I'm just weird this way. I like to hold multiple pencils in my hand all at the same time. I've got a cool tone here. This one is Glacier Blue. What a fun color name. Now I've sped up this footage. It's about 10 times faster than the actual speed that I was working at. This full drawing took me about an hour and 45 minutes. And the Glacier Blue is what I started with for an underlayer of cool tones in her skin. Her skin tones are really quite warm and pink, but I do see little hints of almost greenish blues in the shadows in her jawline, around her eyes, even in the insides of the ears, and so this is helping set the tone for that. And for the first time I tried the Tombow blender, and it works so well with a watercolor pencil. This first layer is really just a ghostly whisper of all of the shadows, and it's helping map out those areas for me for later. Now, in addition to just coloring directly onto the watercolor paper with your pencils, you can also take a damp watercolor brush and swipe some paint from the tip of your pencil. This next color is Ochre Light, and it's helping add in some warm tones to the skin. So you can see this is quite a different application from simply coloring everything in and then activating the paint by scrubbing directly on the paper. Here, I'm really just using it in more of a traditional watercolor technique, the same way you would use half pans, for example, which are dried pans of watercolor paint. For me, this is a much more intuitive way to work just because I'm used to working with watercolor pans like that. You can see I'm really mapping out even stronger the light and shadow shapes in her skin. And now for the hair. Since I don't have the exact fuchsia color, I'm using a color called Cyclamen in combination with Permanent Red Dark. And I think the two combined create an almost perfect color match. Once again, I'm starting with the more traditional method of coloring in and then activating the paint using that blender It's a good idea if you're not really familiar with the colors to test out the colors on a small area first before going in, and definitely work light to dark. Don't press too hard too soon. If you're not working with quality cotton watercolor paper too, there's always the possibility of exhausting the surface. So make sure that you're using a quality watercolor paper, working light to dark, and just building up your layers gradually. The ear was one of my favorite parts to work on. I used a combination of the permanent red dark, the ochre light, and little hints of that pink as well. And this Tombow blender brush was so perfect for creating soft and natural transitions from dark to light. I used magenta for the dark shadows within the inner ear. Now, continuing to build up layers in the skin tone, I'm working with a combination of permanent red light, permanent red dark, olive brown, and ochre light. You can see the olive brown is really a perfect color for those shadow tones along her neck and under her jaw. And again, I'm using the more traditional method of just lightly coloring in these areas, applying more pressure where I want more pigment to be released onto the surface. Under her neck, I'm using Madder Carmine, which is a nice, rich, warm red. And then here's a surprising color to use in skin tones, but it's quite effective. This is Moss Green. And like I said at the start, I do see little hints of green in the shadow tones in her skin, so I think this will be really pretty. A little bit more permanent red dark. I'm just applying the colors that I see in the reference image, being somewhat sparing here. I know I'm probably going to need to go darker and add more layers later, but again, I don't want to exhaust my paper, and I want to work light to dark to ensure that I don't make any mistakes. It's a lot easier to add more color than it is to lift and remove color. I've decided the chest area will remain somewhat loose and painterly. I don't need to do tons of detail there. The ear, the hair, the eye, these are really kind of the central focal point for me. Now the fun part, activating with your water and brush. I have my paper towel handy to control how much water's in the brush. It's quite easy to overdo it with the water, so be somewhat controlled here. I also noticed that the pencils were fairly easy to lift, which was really nice. If you did go overboard in a certain area with too much color, it wasn't a big deal to just lift it with a damp, clean brush. So with that first layer of skin tone done, I'm coming back into the hair, using more of my pink and red. This combination I think was quite effective. Here I'm coloring a lot darker, a lot harder, applying more pressure onto the pencils, and then again activating with the wet brush. When I say wet, I mean damp. It's not soaking wet. You must control how much water is in your brush, because adding too much water to the surface is going to lead to an uncontrollable watery mess. That's why the paper towel is indispensable. Now for the fun part, we're starting to add some dark details. I've switched to a tiny brush, and again, I'm using the black pencil almost as a watercolor pan, and I'm pulling paint directly from the pencil with my damp brush so that I can paint these eye details with a really fine watercolor brush. I find that this method is more controlled and easier for these tiny details than just using the tip of the pencil, which you would have to sharpen to a really tiny point if you wanted to get the same amount of detail. We're using black and a dark brown to add the dark streaks of shadows between her hair strands, and continuing to boost the color in that hair using bright reds, bright pinks, continuing to activate. Now I do try to let each layer dry before going in with more layers of pencil. I found that it wasn't the best method trying to work with a wet surface. You definitely can use the pencils in the wet surface, but the look is somewhat muddled and I didn't like it. So I prefer working in glazes, which is when you apply damp or wet paint over a dried surface. And I'm continuing to use the pencils like my little half pans, working with a damp brush and activating, pulling paint directly from the tip of each pencil and applying it into the painting. Building up these skin tones, working with the olive brown, the Madder Carmine, permanent red dark, among others. I found that this set of 24 was really all I needed. It had all the colors I needed for this painting. There wasn't really anything in the set that I felt was missing in terms of colors, because when you have multiple combinations of warm and cool primaries, you can really mix anything. You may find that there are certain colors that wear down the fastest, and that's because these are the ones you need the most pigment from. And for me, that was my dark brown and black. These are the ones I'll probably have to sharpen before the next painting. The jawline on a portrait is a tricky area. It's really subtle. That transition from dark to light, I found myself struggling a little bit with this area. It was starting to look a little bit overworked. But just like with regular watercolors, if you're working on a high quality cotton surface, you can reactivate the area with clear water once it's dried completely, like you see me doing here. And with a flat wash, you can apply paint directly wet into wet. Again, I'm using that technique where I grab paint from the tip of each pencil and drop it into the wet surface. And look at how much smoother that looks. I find that working on wet paper and just dropping in paint is my go-to best friend for painting smooth and soft skin. Now for the background, I colored directly in with Prussian blue, pressing as hard as I could. Of course, with textured paper, you're going to get a few little gaps between your pencil marks, but that's what the wet brush is for, to help activate it and smooth it out. After the Prussian blue, I applied a second layer, this time with a color called Emerald. I thought it would be fun to do kind of the opposite color of her pink hair. The opposite of pink is turquoise or teal. And then I darkened it with black, creating almost a vignette shape with that dark tone. And then for the fun part, activating the paint, I started with the blender, but I found that it was a little bit slow for my taste. So I switched to my large brush with water. And this actually was much more effective, I thought, for a larger area. I think in hindsight, the little blender brush is perfect for small areas of blending. And then when you want to activate larger areas, it's definitely easier to use a large watercolor brush with pure water. I added some finishing details directly wet on dry with my dark brown pencil into the hair embellishment, the strap of her dress, the earring, the necklace, and a little bit more shadowing in her neck. Overall, I had so much fun and I totally got immersed in this project. The time sort of flew by and I just enjoyed adding multiple layers, building up those shadows, the colors. She has so much beautiful color in her skin and it was such a joy to paint my friend Lily. That was fun using the Cretacolor watercolor pencils. I would definitely use these again for future paintings. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this portrait demonstration gave you some new ideas for using watercolor pencils, whether that's layering vibrant color, blending more effectively, or creating realistic details. Let me know in the comments if you've tried the Cretacolor watercolor pencils and what you think of them. As always, happy painting, and I'll see you in the next video.